Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased true crime channel. Thanks for watching. Let's get straight to the docket today. First, the motions hearing went forward today in the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell matter. Second, attorney Hot Pants has some more issues. Third, you can do just about anything with a drone these days. Fourth, a Colorado cold case needs our help. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Crime Talk, and my name is Scott Reisch. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. Let's get straight to the docket. First, the motions hearing went forward today in the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell matter. As you may recall, last night we discussed it that Mr. Mark Means, the attorney for Lori Vallow, had filed a last-minute motion to continue, saying that he didn't have this on his calendar and really wouldn't be able to proceed forward today because he wasn't going to be prepared. I thought maybe the judge would grant it, but I was pretty certain that the court would go forward. Sure enough, the court went forward. We carried it live, and I provided my analysis of what took place at that time. But let me give you the thumbnail version of it right now. First, Mr. Means had filed a motion for discovery, basically a motion to compel the prosecution to turn over any statements that existed. And it was a very broad and large list of things that the defense wanted. Mr. Wood, the attorney for the prosecution, did get admonished by the judge a little bit as to why he did not respond within the 14 days permitted under the rule. And Mr. Woods basically said, well, at the same time, Judge, I was kind of dealing with this other issue of being disqualified, so that was kind of my focus. But once that was all resolved, I did in fact respond. And the court has a provision under Rule 16 where if they can show good cause or excusable neglect, that the request or the objections to the request are not waived. That's what the judge found. No bad faith, no waiver on the part of the prosecution, but the prosecution was ordered to basically go back and check and see if there's any other statements out there that may exist for any witnesses in this case that have not already been produced. Mr. Wood said he would comply. The overly broad documents and requests that were made by Mr. Means were denied. So Mr. Means' motion was granted in part, denied in part. He got what he's already entitled to, and he didn't get what he's not entitled to under the law. The second issue on that motions hearing today was the fact that Mr. Means says that his client's right to communicate with his attorney is being violated because he cannot meet in an attorney-client conference room at the jail, and that he has to deal with situations related to COVID, the fact that his client's in custody, the fact that it is being recorded. So Mr. Means says, I want to be able to meet with my client. I don't want any video going on, and ultimately just give my client a cell phone so that she can call me at her convenience. Understood the pressures and the reality of a COVID world, as well as the need to meet with your client face to face. However, the court stated, I have no jurisdiction and I'm not going to get involved in these matters. Basically, I'm not going to tell the sheriff how to run his jail. They have to do what they need to do to maintain good order, discipline, and security, and he's not going to get involved with that. Mr. Wood said he's never heard of this request before being made in regards to the cell phone. Frankly, neither had I. Hey, I guess you get A+ for creativity, but I couldn't imagine that an item that is considered to be contraband in a jail was going to be granted, i.e. a telephone. The judge suggested that perhaps Mr. Means call the jail before he heads down there so that they can make sure that the attorney-client visitation room is available. On the issue of calls being recorded, Mr. Means basically said this has happened maybe 3 or 4 times. Mr. Wood said it happened early on because Mr. Means didn't provide his telephone number so they could block those calls from being recorded. Mr. Wood said, I provided that information to them early on, and that this was really the first that he's heard of it. But since he didn't call me, I didn't really take any action on it at this particular time. You can also tell that the relationship, the professional relationship between Mr. Means and Mr. Wood is very acrimonious. At one point, the judge had to admonish Mr. Means and then said, that counts for everybody else. Don't interrupt any other party while they're speaking. And Mr. Means was pretty quiet thereafter for sure. That's what takes place in court. One party speaks at a time. Nobody's talking over anybody. Needless to say, all those requests were denied, other than the court said, yes, you should be able to meet with your client in a space if it's available, coordinate with the jail so that that can take place. But I'm not getting involved in anything else. And that was it. Kind of like what I said I anticipated would happen took place. The hearing would go forward. A lot of documents weren't going to have to be turned over that were requested. And ultimately, Lori Vallow was not going to get a cell phone. All right. There you go. I encourage you to watch our live today. It's interesting. You can see, I think, the tension between the attorneys in the case. They really do not like each other. And I think the fact that we're in front of the judge to resolve these discovery issues is because the professionalism completely went off the rails in this particular case, and neither side is going to do anything as far as communicating with the prosecution and defense unless they absolutely have to. Sounds like everything's going to be done on the record in open court, so no one can be accused of doing or saying anything unethical or illegal, since Mr. Means has accused the prosecutor of that, and he did again today in his motions at least, that Mr. Wood is basically an evil guy withholding all kinds of statements and making his life miserable. So court didn't agree once again. All right, next on the docket, attorney Hot Pants is in more trouble. Now, this case goes back several years, but an attorney in Florida by the name of Stephen Gutierrez, his law license was currently in a revoked status, and now he has a little more trouble. The reason people may remember Mr. Gutierrez was that he was representing a man accused of torching his car for the insurance money. As the story goes, he was arguing to the jurors in his closing statements that the fire may have been caused by spontaneous combustion when flames and smoke began billowing from his pants. Attorney Gutierrez then apparently had to run out of the courtroom as the bewildered jurors, spectators, and court looked upon the entire situation. Mr. Gutierrez blamed a faulty battery in his electronic cigarette for ignition in his pocket at the coincidental time that he was arguing about spontaneous combustion. The prosecutors basically argued that it seems obvious that the fire was a stunt meant to illustrate the feasibility of his spontaneous combustion theory. But guess what? That didn't quite work out. And Mr. Gutierrez was not charged because they couldn't prove any sort of criminal intent that he was starting a fire and committing an arson on his own. Mr. Gutierrez, like I said, he was in a suspended status because he was suspended for filing bogus insurance claims related to the arson case. His license was revoked. He actually pled guilty, and he blamed his conduct on a lot of personal problems in his life, basically a lack of experience and good mentoring to why he did what he did. Well, now Mr. Gutierrez has even more troubles because he was pulled over for driving without a headlight, right? They can pull you over for just about anything these days. As the officer saw a bulge in his pocket, the officer believed that it was a knife. Now, bulges in pockets, always a little suspicious of that. You know, officers will say, oh, it's a rock. I was in danger of my life, knowing full well that it's probably drugs. And in this particular case, when the officers searched Mr. Gutierrez, they found metal container with a white powder inside, which tested positive for cocaine. We'll give Mr. Gutierrez the presumption of innocence. Obviously, it sounds like he has a lot of things going on in his life and things are not going well. Hopefully he can turn that situation around. But sometimes you got to acknowledge you have issues and deal with them and move on. All right, next on the docket, you can do just about anything with a drone these days. Border Patrol agents in California in the city of San Diego have seized a drone that was being used to smuggle drugs over the border. What a shock. Are you telling me that there are drugs that come from south of the border into the United States? I am shocked. I don't believe it. Oh my goodness. Well, now apparently, instead of going underneath and digging tunnels or just crossing the border, now smugglers are using drones. And this particular drone that was found had a kilogram of alleged methamphetamine taped to it. Apparently, local residents complain that there are drones flying in the neighborhood all the time. It just goes to show you that people are very ingenious and necessity is the mother of invention. All right, very quickly, if you haven't done so already, I would urge you, go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. If there's someone out there, maybe you're getting to know them better, maybe you know them or you think you know them, but you just don't get that warm, fuzzy feeling about them, do a background search on them. When you sign up at CrimeTalkSearch.com, you'll be able to anonymously search as many people as you would like. A report is generated while you wait, and it's going to have everything related to them, related to their social media presence, phone numbers, emails associated with them. And you can ask them, hey, why do you have 5 phone numbers associated with you? Is that because that's the number that goes to all your Bumble accounts or whatever account it is for other dating things? Is that what you use for meeting your girlfriend or boyfriend? Those are things you can find out. You're also going to be able to find out in that report whether somebody has a criminal history, if they own property, if they have civil judgments against them, if they have divorce records, or whether they are even a registered sex offender. We've had so many people send us information saying, hey, Scott, I was going to get involved with a particular person, or I was going to get involved in a business relationship with somebody. I ran a background check, and guess what? I found something I would never have suspected. Go to Crime Talk Search, find out now. You'll be happy you did. All right, we've talked about this case because it is a case that everyone in Colorado knows about. And finally, a substantial reward has been made. A reward in this particular case was set at $12,000. But now, due to the generous donations of some anonymous individuals, the reward is up to $100,000. And this is regarding a case where then high school students, one by the name of Nicholas Kunzelman and Stephanie Hart Grizel, were at a Subway sandwich shop where the 15-year-old Kunzelman worked. His girlfriend, Miss Hart Grizel, was there with him on February 14th of 2000. Another employee was driving by later in the early morning hours, about 1 a.m., and noticed that the lights were still on, went back to the store and realized that both of the students there had been shot and killed, and a robbery had taken place. And these two students survived the Columbine High School shooting, and to have their life ended so early and tragically obviously is a shame. There's been lots of interviews, but this case is literally 20 years old now, 21 years old. People need closure. People need to know. Someone out there has information. Hopefully with the new reward that is out there, someone will come forward and say, that $100,000 gives me the courage to come forward and tell the truth so that this case can be solved and that justice can be served for the family of the victims and the victims as well. Now, next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Our dumb criminal contestant is a gentleman by the name of Kendrick Hill. Now, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison after being found guilty of kidnapping. A jury of his peers unanimously found him guilty, and you should wonder, why would he have kidnapped somebody? That's pretty dangerous conduct. That's right, it is. Apparently, the victim in this case owed Mr. Hill $20. That's right, $20. And some of the most overwhelming evidence was the evidence that Mr. Hill put on his social media depicting an assaulted individual, the victim, tied up to a chair, that's right, the victim, with a fire burning underneath him. That's right, all put on his social media. He confessed by putting it on video and posting it on social media. Certainly not condoning what Mr. Hill did, but the mere fact that he did it over a $20 debt, pretty dumb, because he got 45 years in prison for that. And the fact that he put it on social media, that's just dumb. So Mr. Hill, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. You have the opportunity when we have our final drawing at the end of the week to see if you're the dumb criminal contestant winner. And if you are the winner for the week, that's right, you're going to get a mug. We'll have to send it directly from Teespring because they probably won't let me send it to you unless it comes directly from the shipper. But we'll get it to you if you are selected. And if you would like some Crime Talk gear, go to the link below and you can order it. But wait, there's more. As of tomorrow at 8 a.m., you can go to the link below, hit it, type in the promotional code AWESOME when you go to checkout, and you get a 10% discount on all Crime Talk gear. You're welcome. Go do it. You'll be happy you did. All right, thanks for watching. Go watch that live today of the Lori Vallow, Chad Day bail proceedings. I think you'll find it interesting. Hopefully you think what I have to say was insightful as well. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow on Crime Talk.